Hello and welcome back to the Crafty Princess Diaries podcast. Today is August 11th, 2014, and this is episode 2 entitled Getting Organized or Not. I wanted to thank the few people, I think I had about 3 people that gave me feedback on my first episode, and I had I think 35 views that showed up on YouTube. And I wanted to thank those people for their assistance. I realize, especially some of them are not necessarily people who watch podcasts, so I thought it was very sweet that they took the time to watch mine. And they gave me some feedback, which I hope is going to work. I moved the monitor up closer to me to help with having a little bit less of the background. Also, I think that's going to hopefully help with the sound. I have an external sound system on my PC, so for me, it sounded fine when I tested it. Um, so maybe moving the webcam up as close as possible without it actually, being in front of my mouth will actually help a little bit. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I realize some people are viewing me on an iPad, and of course, the sound on that is very limited. So we will see if episode 2 is a little bit better technically wise than episode 1 was. And so today, like I said, the episode is called Getting Organized, and you can find, or not, and I'll show you the or not in a minute. You can find show notes as well as other information about me at my weblog, The Crafty Princess Diaries, and it's at www.tammyp as in Paul, OWLEY. You can also find my YouTube channel if you go to youtube.com and just do a search for my name, Tammypowley, Tammy Powley, and you will be able to find, hello, this is Herbie. Herbie says hi. He probably wants to get up. Hopefully he will not knock over. He will not. Yeah, okay, fine. Yay, he got up there. Oh, and Chanel's up there too. So I have a hutch over my computer monitor, and in that I have a box, and that is like very prime kitty real estate. So they love to hang up there all day. And that's Miss Lola, Lola Bell. So, all right, cat distraction. Sorry about that. So getting organized or not. The or not came because I thought I had this really brilliant idea this weekend. As you know, if you watched the first episode, we've done some work around the house, putting in new flooring, etc. And this has caused me to go through stuff, reorganize, clear out. And so I thought, wow, you know what? I have a lot of space underneath our bed. How about I go to Walmart, which I hate shopping there, but sometimes you just can't beat the prices, and it's very close to where I live. So I went up there and got 4 large plastic containers with lids. And I thought, well, I can put stuff in there like I have, as extra 31 consultant inventory. I can put yarn in there, beads, all kinds of stuff. And I could probably fit another 4 containers under there. Before I did this is what made me think about it. I had a container, a similar one, that had wrapping paper in there and gift bags and that sort of thing, tissue and everything. So whenever I have excuse me, I've got to itch my nose. Whenever I have a gift, I had that all that stuff put away, and it was easy to get to. So I thought, well, I'll get some more of these and fill them up with bags and totes and yarn and etc. So I went, got the containers. I think I filled up 2 of them, slid them under the bed last night. And of course, before I went to bed, I always have to take the dogs out. We have a number of dogs. And almost a year ago, we adopted an additional dog he was in kind of bad shape. He was obviously had not been fed very well. He had wounds on his legs. It looked like he was in some sort of dog fight. He wasn't fixed. Obviously didn't have a chip. Not that I would have given him back to his owners anyway. But he is not trained at all, and he's very young. He's a lot younger than our other dogs, and so he's got lots of energy. So last night when I brought them in, he immediately tried to dive under the bed. He's really small. In fact, we call him Little. Little dude, little guy, little shrimp boat, he's little to us because our other dogs are quite big. They're about 85 pounds. So now he's about 50 pounds. He might even be a little bit more than that because everybody gains weight in this house. So, but anyway, he went under the bed, and I was like, no, 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 no. And I thought, well, what could happen, So I leave to go make the coffee and do everything else I have to do before I go to bed. And I come back, and he's pulled out one of the containers, and it was chewing on it. Yeah, yeah. Now I don't know if he'll be able to actually open it and get into stuff, but he's a little worm. He gets into things like if you have a door cracked open, he manages to wiggle in there and get in the garbage. I mean, he's into everything. So um, he's probably a year and a half at the most. So he's like having a 2-year old. But yeah, so this is the or not. This is the I'm not sure if this is a great idea or not, but if you don't have a dog that will crawl under your bed and chew up stuff, maybe that is an option for you to think about. Under your bed, maybe other furniture. If your couch is up high enough, you might be able to slide things under there for storage. The other issue with getting organized, besides finding storage, that I have found, especially when it comes to crafting, is getting rid of stuff. And that is so hard because I want to keep everything. And in particular, I love craft books. I love um, perusing them. I actually write lots of reviews on my weblog, especially jewelry making books. You can see probably almost a review every week posted over there. And so, yeah, I get a lot of books. And sometimes I'll get a book and I just know, wow, I should give this to a certain friend of mine who I know would love this book. And I do that. And so I don't necessarily keep them all the time. But, after the years go on, you just start having a lot of books around, and you have to decide that some of them have to go. And so what I decided to do, because I still am working on clearing that room out, and I managed to get an entire shelf, one huge shelf of books cleared out. And the way I did that is I came up with questions that I asked myself for each book. And it was hard because, of course, you want to sit down and start flipping through them and everything. But I was like, nope, I'm going to do this as fast as I possibly can. And my questions were things like, would I ever make any of the projects in the book? Do I ever see myself, or have I made any of these projects, and would I make some more? If it was yes, then I would keep them. Or even, I love these projects. How much do I love these jewelry projects, for example? I love them. They're beautiful. Maybe I'll never make them, but I sure like them. I kept the book. If it was something that I found was a good reference, for example, there were a couple of books that had information about making jewelry with aluminum, and I have never made, other than just buying aluminum findings, I have done that, but it's like one of them actually cuts up aluminum cans and turns it into jewelry. Yeah, I kept that one because for me, I write about jewelry making, so you never know, something like that might be helpful, down the road, especially since metals are so expensive now. Precious metals are crazy expensive. So those are some of the things that I had to ask myself about if I was going to keep them or not. I also went through a lot of vintage books and magazines that I've been keeping that I just really like. They're just fun to look at, but I had to get real, and I'll give you an example here. This is a McCall's magazine. I guess it's a booklet. It's kind of hardback. Yes, it's really more like a book. All right, come on. Am I ever going to make this really cool overall short granny square Lord have mercy? No, I'm never going to make that. Okay, that's crazy. Um, even this lion is kind of, I don't know, freaky looking. So, but I mean, it was $1. I think it's from the 70s. I don't know. This kind of stuff just is so fun to me. But I had to get realistic and realize I can't keep this stuff. I had a lot of it. A lot of stuff like this, little booklets and pamphlets and things that were like 25 cents in 1952 or whatever. Um, Now there is some helpful information here for a beginner though, because it does have, like they show the little excerpts here, it does have information on how to crochet. So what I did with a lot of these is I set these aside because I am a sponsor for a craft club at the college where I work, and I realized, well, somebody there, one of my members might actually find this helpful. So, and if I don't find somebody at the craft club to take it, this will be going to Goodwill. I'm sorry. It's so funny looking, but I need the space. It's just I just don't have enough room for this sort of thing. Also, any other books that I didn't keep, I decided who was going to get them. I have a friend of mine that She has started beading again after taking a hiatus for a few years because of life getting in her way. And now she's able to do it again, and she's really enjoying it. And she particularly mentioned to me about wanting to work with wire more with her beads. And so I had some wire and bead books that I knew would be perfect for her. I also set aside some books of fiber related for my sister, who does crochet as well, and she also makes jewelry. So I had these stacks, and it was like, if it fit into those stacks and I thought somebody would keep it or use it, then I put it in that stack. And then anything they don't want, that is going to go to Goodwill. So, and it was hard. It was really difficult for me to let them go. But somebody else is going to enjoy them now, so I have to think about it like that. So that's really kind of my tip of the week, and I'd like to do a tip each episode. So that's sort of my tip, crafting tip, because crafters tend to like books because that's how a lot of us are self-taught, even though obviously if you're using a book, you're really not self-taught because you use the book to teach yourself, but technically speaking, you're using those materials to learn. And there's just some beautiful jewelry and knitting books, and I mean, there's a lot of wonderful books that publishers put out, and it is hard not to keep them all. But I would say the only other thing I would suggest is, I know some people might be thinking, well, maybe I can drop them by my library. Unless it's a new book, more than likely most public libraries are not necessarily going to want your book. And I know this because I used to work at a public library, and we would have people who would constantly want to give us books. But the thing is, if it's not really current, for example, there's no way they would want this. Okay, not going to want it. If it's not pretty current, they're probably just don't. Again, they are limited in space as well, believe it or not, and they like to keep things that are that most people are going to want to check out. So if you have a 10-year-old craft book, even, it may not be something they're looking for. Now, a few libraries will have bookstores connected to them, and so they may be able to sell them, but not all libraries have that. The little library that I used to work at, we would do book sales occasionally, but and we had a little cart that would have some books on it that people could buy, but we didn't have the resources to really have a full bookstore. So unless you live in a fairly large city, I know some of them will have a bookstore. So that is an option. You can always check into it, but don't be surprised if they don't want your books. I mean, they actually throw books out. Sorry to say that. You look in the garbage over there at your public library, but books become obsolete, especially anything that's like encyclopedias or even dictionaries. They also can become damaged from wear and tear from people using them, or there's water damage or something like that in the library, or mold, God forbid. So there's things that happen that they end up having to throw the books away. So um, anyway, just a little tidbit about books there. So works in progress. Last time I told you about one of my works in progress was a knitted scarf, and I'm still working on it. Even though, you know what? After that podcast, I said, I'm gonna jam on that. I'm gonna get that done. I'm gonna get that done this week. I'm gonna work on it and work on it, and yeah, it's still not done. I mean, okay, yeah, I'm getting really over this, but I'm gonna finish this. Dang it. Okay. I mean, look at it. It doesn't even look like this has changed at all. All right. And this is what drives me crazy with knitting as opposed to crochet. If this was crochet, this sucker would have been done. I would have gotten it done in a couple days. Bing, bang, boom, done. Knitting, and these are small. These are size 6 US needles, so they're not very big. I believe they're 6. And this is 2-ply merino wool yarn, by the way. I got it from Morehouse Farms. Yeah, Morehouse, Morehouse Farms. It's really nice yarn, by the way. I think the colorway is just called pink, but it's very soft, and I enjoy it. I mean, I enjoy touching it and working with it. It feels good in my hands while I'm working with it. But I'm just getting really frustrated because I want to finish this, especially because I want to start another Craftsy knitting class. There's a knitting hat class that I signed up for. I think it's another Knit Lab class. But I kind of feel like if I start that, then that's going to take up all my knitting time, and I don't want this just lingering. I don't like having a lot of unfinished projects. I know many crafters, that's not a big deal to them, but it bothers me if stuff is not finished. I mean, I don't have to be like a speed demon, but if things are months old and I haven't completed them, I usually end up frogging them. I just can't handle the pressure, I guess. So anyway, that I'm still working on it. Um, and I mean, I worked a lot on this week. This is what amazes me. Even at night, normally I don't knit at night too much because, like when I'm watching television, because I really have to pay attention. And I finally just said, screw it, I'm just going to do it. And if there's errors, there are errors. You know, if I mess up, I mess up, and I'm just going to keep going. You know, and I did. I've messed up. I mean, there's pearls that should be knit that should be pearl, but oh well. So the only other project that I did work on, and I won't show you the parts and pieces, but it's the teddy bear. This is a finished teddy bear that will look, the one I'm making now will look similar to this guy. And I did finish all the parts and pieces. I'm at the point where I have to stitch them together, and I've just learned from experience that is not something that you want to rush through when you're stitching together an amigurumi animal. You want to be careful about where things line up, or you can have sort of end up with a Frankenstein looking, you know, animal where you can see the stitches and that kind of thing. So just experiences told me I need to just have time where I don't feel rushed and I have plenty of time to maybe watch a podcast and stitch them together. So I guess that's pretty much my crafting works in progress. And yeah, my future ideas for projects, of course, has to do with knitting those hats when I take that class. And I'm also going to, let's see if I can find it over here. I have a adorable amigurumi coming up that I want to make. Yes, cute. Okay, this is another Fresh Stitches that I want to make this for my niece. She's having a baby, and I'm making her, that's who's also going to get the teddy bear. I've made her a few other projects, but this is called Spiky the Stegosaurus. Okay, and this is a Fresh Stitches pattern. So this will be my next crochet project when I get the teddy bear done. All right, so to wrap things up, I wanted to also mention really quickly that if you go to my website, www.tammypowley.com, I have a giveaway as well as a $5 off coupon, I guess you would call it, for something called the Spicy Shelf. And originally, when you look at the spicy shelf, it's made for organizing your spices, but crafters will find this useful because you can organize things like bottles of beads or paints, or if you even don't have those type of crafts, if you have makeup that you want to organize, or of course spices. But the spicy shelf is a shelf that it's parts and pieces that you assemble together and you stick it into your cabinet, and then you can line up all of the bottles and everything so you can actually see them. If you go over to my website, like I said, the information and links over to Spicy Shelf, and there's a video on there that they show you how to, you know, put it together and how it works. But the contest is open until the end of this, not even really the end of this week, Friday. So it would be Friday, August 15th, 2014. Go over there, read the info. Basically, I just ask you to comment about getting organized, and I will randomly select somebody as the winner. I may or may not do it on my next podcast. It depends. I usually like to try to get the prizes out as soon as possible. And so you can either get $5 off if you want to purchase the product from Spicy Shelf. Normally it's $19.95, and you get 2 shelves with it's a double set when you order it, and also the winner will get the same double set. So yeah, go over to my website and make sure that you know, enter to win, because since it's so short, I don't expect a lot of people really to enter. I have a few people already, but because I have a short window of time, I want to get this contest going and wrapped up fairly quickly. You have a pretty good chance of winning. So, all right, I'm up to about 20 minutes almost, and I don't really want to go over that time, and I think I've covered everything. Thank you again for coming back. If you came back after episode 1, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate the help and the comments that people gave me. They were very nice. They gave me criticism in a nice way, okay? And I really appreciate that. And if you're new, please go back and watch my first episode and turn the sound way up, I guess, so that you can hear me. And I hope you can come back to episode 3, which I don't know, maybe I'll do this once a week for a while and just see how it goes. But otherwise, I'm going to let you go, and I hope you have a wonderful week of crafting.